The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Katniss strode through the crystalline doors, her boots echoing against the polished floor. Around her, representatives from a dozen species shifted uncomfortably in their seats, beings of pure energy. Insectoid scholars and reptilian diplomats all watched the human with thinly veiled contempt. Another petition from the lesser species, Ambassador Zixthor hissed, his scaled lips curling into what passed for a sneer among his kind. How quaint. Katniss met his gaze without flinching. She'd heard worse in the 3 months since humanity had made first contact. The galaxy, it turned out, operated on a strict hierarchy based on evolutionary history, genetic markers, and something the Council called predatory index. Humans, according to their initial assessment, ranked near the bottom, soft-skinned, weak, lacking natural weapons or armor. "I'm not here to petition," Katniss said, her voice cutting through the murmurs. "I'm here to present evidence." Levan appeared beside her, carrying a sealed container that hummed with energy fields. His dark eyes scanned the room, cataloging exits and potential threats, a habit from his days in Earth's military that he couldn't shake. The council members leaned back as he approached, and Katniss noticed the fear in their movements. Good, she thought. Let them be afraid. 3 months ago, Katniss began, activating the holographic display. Your scientists collected DNA samples from our species for classification. You determined we were prey animals, gatherers and scavengers at best. You denied us trade rights, colonization permits, and representation on this council. Your genetic markers spoke for themselves, interjected Council Leader Marathos, a being of swirling light and consciousness. No venom sacs, no exoskeleton, no natural weapons. Your flight response stronger than your fight response. By every measure, you are prey. Levan's jaw tightened, but he remained silent. They'd agreed Katniss would do the talking. That was your first mistake, Katniss continued. You analyzed our current genetics, but you didn't look at our evolutionary history. You didn't ask what we used to be. She nodded to Levan, who opened the container. Inside, suspended in a stasis field, was a fragment of bone. Ancient, mineralized, but unmistakable. 40,000 years ago, Katniss explained, Earth was inhabited by multiple hominid species. But there was one that dominated, one that hunted megafauna across frozen tundras and baking savannas, one that developed tools, strategy, and something you've never encountered before, persistence hunting. The hologram shifted, showing reconstructed images of early humans chasing prey across endless plains. We didn't need venom or claws. Levan spoke for the first time, his voice low and dangerous. We had something better. We had endurance. We would chase our prey for days, literally days, until their hearts gave out from exhaustion. We would track them through any terrain, any weather. We never stopped. We never gave up. Ambassador Zixthor laughed, a rattling sound. Ancient history. Evolution has made you soft. You've lost whatever edge your ancestors had. Have we? Katniss asked. She gestured to the hologram again, and it displayed a new image, a DNA helix, complex and terrifying in its implications. Last week, your chief geneticist ran a comparative analysis. He was looking for any species in the galactic database that shared markers with humanity. The room grew quieter. He found one, Katniss said softly. The Vexcar. The reaction was immediate. Council members rose from their seats, voices rising in panic and disbelief. The Vexcar were legend, an extinct species that had terrorized the galaxy for millennia before mysteriously disappearing. They were the apex predators, the nightmare species that had driven 3 civilizations to extinction before vanishing without a trace. Impossible. Marathos's light flickered erratically. The Vexcar were monsters. They couldn't be killed, couldn't be stopped. They hunted for sport and survival. They shared 89% of their base genetic markers with modern humans, Katniss interrupted. Your own scientist confirmed it. We didn't just evolve on Earth, Council Leader. Our ancestors colonized it. The Vexcar didn't go extinct, they evolved. They adapted to a death world where everything tried to kill them, and they became us. Levan placed a data pad on the central podium. This contains the full genetic analysis, archaeological evidence from Earth, and a few other interesting discoveries. Like the fact that human DNA contains dormant sequences, genetic memory from our Vexcar ancestors. Sequences that activate under extreme stress. That's why our soldiers seem unusually aggressive in combat. Katniss added. Why we have an abnormal pain tolerance. Why we form pack bonds and never leave our wounded behind. It's not training, Council. It's ancestry. Zixthor's scales had lost their color. But the Vexcar were. They were apex predators, Katniss finished. Yes. And while we've evolved past our most violent tendencies, while we've built civilization and culture and art, that core is still there. Dormant, perhaps, but never gone. She stepped forward, and despite herself being smaller than most beings in the room, they all seemed to shrink back. You called us a lesser species, she said quietly. You denied us basic rights because we didn't fit your narrow definition of predator. But we are the descendants of the most successful predator species the galaxy has ever known. We hunted them to death. The Vexcar hunted everything to death until there was nothing left but us. We evolved past our nature, Levon added. We chose cooperation over domination. But make no mistake, we chose it. It wasn't forced upon us by weakness. Marthos's light had dimmed considerably. What do you want? Katniss smiled, though there was no warmth in it. Everything we were denied. Full council membership, trade rights, colonization permits, and an apology. And if we refuse? The silence stretched. Finally, Katniss shrugged. Then you'll have your answer about whether humans are really a lesser species. And trust me, council leader, you won't like that answer. She turned to leave, Levon falling into step beside her. Behind them, the council erupted into chaos, but neither human looked back. As the crystalline doors closed behind them, Levon allowed himself a small smile. Think they'll agree? Katniss's expression was grim. They will. They're predators too, after all, and predators recognize their own, even when they're prey, especially then.